Wipe out every mosquito the Amish way without harming bees, pets, or kids. There is a 5-gallon bucket sitting behind our woodshed right now. It is half full of rainwater, with a handful of grass clippings floating on top, and one heaping spoonful of a powder you can buy at any hardware store for a few dollars. And every female mosquito within 100 yards of this farmhouse is flying toward that bucket this very minute to lay her eggs, and every single egg she lays there is going to be dead within a day. It will not harm the honeybees my husband keeps. It will not harm the butterflies in my flower garden, nor the dog, nor the hens, nor the songbirds at the feeder, nor the grandchildren running barefoot through the grass at dusk. It kills one thing, and one thing only. My name is Elsie Yoder, a plain Amish grandmother here in Lancaster County, and I have not been bitten by a mosquito at my own supper table in more years than I can count. We have no electric bug zapper. We have no spray truck coming down our lane. We have no chemical company on a monthly bill. And I am going to show you exactly what we do, in the order we do it, and what it costs, and where to put it. And I am going to tell you the part that ought to make you a little angry, which is that the lawn and spray companies in your town have known this safe way for 40 years, and most of them still spray your yard with something that kills the honeybees right along with the mosquitoes. The reason is the plain one you have heard from me before. The Be Safe way does not come back to refill itself every month at $200 a visit. Stay with me to the end, for by then you will know how to clear the mosquitoes off your own property this very weekend for less than the cost of one spray treatment, and your bees will thank you for it. And for the whole of how we keep a home and a place for so much less than the English pay, it is all in the Amish Home Savings Guide, over at elsieyoderamish.com, the link just below. You need none of it for what comes next. Now let me start with the one thing most folks get wrong, for if you do not understand this, none of the rest will work. Mosquitoes do not come out of the air. They do not blow in on the wind from the woods, nor from your neighbor's pond down the road. Hear me plain. Every mosquito that is biting you in your own backyard was born in your own backyard. In water, in still standing water, and it does not take much of it at all. A bottle cap's worth held in the fold of an old tarp is enough. A gutter clogged with leaves, holding half a cup of rain for 4 days is enough. The little dish under your potted geranium is enough. One female will lay near 300 eggs at a time in less water than you can hold in your 2-cupped hands. That is the whole game right there. So here is the secret the whole of the rest hangs upon. You do not wait to swat the mosquito after it has grown its wings and come for your face. You kill it in the water before it is ever a mosquito at all. My grandfather walked this whole property every Saturday morning of the summer with an empty coffee can, and he tipped out every saucer and every bucket and every wheelbarrow that had caught water in the week. He called it walking the line. And in the few spots he could not drain, the rain barrel, the low place in the pasture, he had another trick, which I will show you in just a moment. The English want to kill the mosquito once it is on their arm. We kill it in the water before it ever has wings. Our way takes about an hour a month. Their way takes a monthly bill and a fog over the yard that smells like a chemistry room. So here is the first thing, and the heart of it all. You will want 3 things: a dark-colored bucket, an orange or a brown or a black one, never a white one, and I will tell you why in a moment. A few handfuls of grass clippings or dead leaves, and 1 container of a thing called mosquito bits, which you will find in the lawn and garden aisle of any hardware store, a few dollars, and it lasts a whole family the whole summer. You set the bucket somewhere out of the way, behind the shed, under a hedge, behind the barn, and never near where you sit to eat, for you mean to draw the mosquitoes away from you, not toward you. You fill it about halfway with water, rainwater if you have it. Then you toss in your handful of grass clippings and a few dead leaves, just enough to make the water look a little dirty, a little swampy. Now why the dark bucket? because a female mosquito hunting a place to lay her eggs is looking for the dark, still, shaded pool where her kind has bred for millions of years. A bright white bucket in the sun does not look like home to her. A dark bucket in the shade looks like the finest home there is. And why the grass clippings? Because as they break down, they give off the very smell of a real pond. The scent that tells her, "Here, leave your young here. You are not making a swamp. You are making a counterfeit swamp, the most tempting piece of real estate on your whole property, as far as a mosquito is concerned. And now, here is what turns that counterfeit swamp into a graveyard. You take one heaping spoonful of the mosquito bits and you sprinkle it across the top of the water. That is all. You do not stir it, you do not measure it, one spoonful floating on the surface. Now, what is in those bits is a thing called BTI, and do not let the name trouble you. It is not a chemical, and it is not a poison the way you think of poison. It is a tiny living thing, a bacterium that lives naturally in the soil the whole world over. And here is the wonder of it, it kills exactly one kind of creature. When a mosquito larva, that is the little wriggling thing that hatches from the egg and lives in the water about a week before it grows wings, when that larva eats a speck of the BTI, it dies within a day, and it works on nothing else. Not on the bees, not on the butterflies, not on the dragonflies that eat mosquitoes themselves, not on the fish, the frogs, the birds, nor your dog if she drinks from the bucket. The reason it is so particular is that the gut of a mosquito larva is made a certain way, and the BTI only comes alive in that exact chemistry. A honeybee's insides are made altogether different, so are yours. Germany has used this in their public mosquito control since 1981. Our own state uses it and drops it from airplanes over the marshes. It is the safest thing there is, and it has been for 40 years. So why is your lawn company not using it? Because it is cheap and it is sold right over the counter, and once you know of it, you do not need them anymore. A few dollars worth lasts your family the whole summer. A monthly spray contract runs $60 a visit and more. You do the figuring on which one the spray company would rather sell you. Now, one bucket behind one shed will not clear a whole yard. You want at least 3, one on each side of the house, every one of them tucked away from where you sit and where the children play. I keep one behind the woodshed, one out past the bee yard, and one behind the herb garden, hid down behind the rosemary so it does not spoil the look of things. And if you have a spot where you cannot hide a bucket, take the lid it came with, fix 4 little legs to it with short dowels or screws, and rest it on top like a little hat, so the rain cannot fill the bucket, and thin out the BTI, but the mosquitoes can still fly in underneath to lay their eggs. Now, for the places you cannot set a bucket, the ditch along the road, the low spot in the pasture, the old stock tank, the rain barrel by the door, they make the very same thing in another shape. Little brown rings the boxes call mosquito dunks. You just toss one in. Each covers a good bit of standing water and lasts about a month. I keep a box in the mudroom and drop one in the rain barrel the first day of every month from May to September. And here is the one most folks never think of: your gutters. If your gutters have any leaves or needles built up in them, and most do within a year of a cleaning, they are holding water, just enough. Sprinkle a spoonful of the bits right into the gutter every few weeks through the season, and you have shut down what is very likely the single biggest mosquito nursery on your whole place. The homeowner never knows the gutters are doing it. The mosquitoes surely do. But before I go a step further, let me say a word about the part you cannot buy in any store, which is the walking of your own property, for it is half the whole battle. Once a week, in the cool of the morning, take an empty coffee can and walk your whole yard. Every saucer under every pot, the wheelbarrow leaned against the barn, the old dog dish, the folds of the tarp on the woodpile, the children's little pool, the bird bath, the clogged downspout, and if you have an old tire out back, get rid of it, for an old tire is the very worst mosquito factory ever made. Dump every last one of them, turn them over. This is the thing the farm folk call source reduction, and I will tell you plain, you could set out 50 buckets of BTI, and it would not do you half the good of dumping the 6 little catch pools hiding around your yard. 5 minutes a week. The mosquito starts in the water, you end her there. Now you have walked the line, you have set the buckets, you have treated the gutters. That handles all the eggs and the young, but there are still grown mosquitoes out there this minute, born last week, hunting blood so they can lay one last batch before they die, and they will not read your mind and go to the bucket. They will come find you on the porch. So we must handle the grown ones too, and this is the second piece of it, and it is also safe for the bees and the butterflies. What we use is real essential oils, the true plant extracts, cedarwood, rosemary, clove, lemongrass, peppermint. These are not perfumes. They are the strong plant compounds that folks the world over use to keep the biting things off, long before there was anything in a can. You can buy them ready mixed at the hardware store. Put it in a pump-up garden sprayer, the kind you fill and pump by hand and carry on your shoulder, for the little hose end kind runs out too fast and sprays too thin. You fill the tank most of the way with water, shake your bottle of the oil good and hard for it settles, pour in what the label tells you, and shake the whole thing till the water goes cloudy like thin milk. And then, here is the trick most folks get wrong. Do not spray the open air, for the oils fly off and are wasted. What you spray is the underside of every leaf in your bushes and your hedges, the eaves of the porch, the back of the woodpile, the shady pockets of the shrubs. For in the day, a mosquito does not fly about. She rests, in the cool shade under the leaves, waiting for the evening. Spray her resting places, and you have hit the whole grown lot of them in one afternoon. But do not spray the flowers that are in bloom, for though these oils will not kill a honeybee, they will keep her from wanting to land there, and we do not want to send our bees away. The whole place takes me about 3/4 of an hour, and it lasts 2 and 3 weeks, till a hard rain, and then I do it again. Now I want to tell you of 2 more things that belong to my people, for they are part of how we have always done this. The first is the purple martin house, those tall white poles with what looks like a little apartment on top, set out in the open on Amish farms all through our country. Now I will be honest with you, as I always am, for there is a story going round that one purple martin eats 2,000 mosquitoes in a day, and that is not quite the truth of it. The birds eat mostly the bigger insects that fly in the daytime, and the mosquitoes come out after the martins are abed. But hear what the martins do. They make your place a lively one, full of song and dragonflies, and the busy work of the good Lord's small creatures, and a place that is alive that way is a place where the mosquito has a hard time getting a foothold at all. The whole of it begins to work with you instead of against you. And the second is what my grandmother did at dusk, when the family sat out on the porch in the cool of the evening. She took an old tin can, a coffee can with a few nail holes punched in the side, and she put in a small handful of dried herbs from her garden, rosemary and sage and dried lavender, and a sprig of mugwort in a bad year. She set one small coal in the bottom, lit it, and let the herbs smolder, and the smoke off those herbs is what we had before there was anything else. It smells wonderful, nothing like the chemical can, more like a kitchen at Christmas, and it keeps the mosquitoes out of a good 10-foot circle for as long as it smokes. You can do the very same on your own porch tonight, with a little dish, a charcoal disc from the hardware store, and a handful of dried rosemary or sage from your kitchen cupboard. It does not trouble the honeybees, for they are already home in the hive for the night, and the mosquitoes will not come near it. Now I want to leave you with the bigger thing, for it matters more than the rest. The mosquito kills more human beings every year than any other animal on this earth. Not the snake, not the shark, not the bear, the mosquito. It carries the West Nile sickness, which is in every state of this country now, and worse things in other parts of the world that take 500,000 lives a year, most of them little children. This is no small matter, no mere itch on the arm. But the way the most of this country has been told to handle it, call the company, sign the paper, let them fog your yard once a month with a thing that kills every insect it touches, that is not the only way, nor even the best way. It is only the way that makes somebody money. The honeybees of this country are in a bad way, whole hives dying off, and one of the reasons is that the very chemicals sprayed to kill the mosquitoes in the yards are killing the bees that pollinate the food in those same yards. You cannot kill the pest without killing the helper, if you reach for the wrong tool. Every Amish family I know that keeps bees has the same sorrow about the spray trucks coming through our townships in the summer. They are killing our living while they tell the neighbors they are helping them. But the BTI does not harm a bee. The oils do not harm a bee. The dumping of the water harms nothing at all but the mosquito. The whole of it, the buckets, the dunks, the oils, the smoke, the walking of the line, costs you less than a single month of the company's service, takes you one weekend to set up, and you run it yourself the rest of your life, with no contract, no chemical, and no harm done to a living helper. So here is what I would have you do this very weekend. First, and it is free, walk your property with a coffee can and dump every saucer and bucket and wheelbarrow and tarpfold that is holding water. Second, set out 3 dark buckets in hidden corners, half full, a handful of clippings, 1 spoon of the bits in each. Third, toss a dunk in the rain barrel and any low spot or gutter that holds water more than a day or two, and if you have the time, get a pump sprayer and a bottle of the oil, and spray the undersides of the shrubs and the back of the woodpile and the porch lattice. That is your whole weekend. A few dollars in all the first time, and pennies the rest of the season, and by next Saturday's evening you will sit out on your porch in the cool, with no mosquito coming for you, your bees still working the flowers, and your grandchildren barefoot in the grass. Then come down here and tell me, in the comments, where you live and how bad the mosquitoes have been for you this year, and tell me true if you set out a bucket, for I want to hear how it goes, and I read every single one. Now none of this is clever, mind. It is only remembered. We did it this way not because we were wise, but because we had no spray truck to call and no contract to sign, and so we could not afford to forget that the mosquito is a water problem, and a water problem is one you can solve with a few dollars and an hour of attention. Teach it to one young family setting up a first home, for that is how this knowing stays alive, not in any book, but from one pair of hands down to the next. Next time, the good Lord willing, I will show you what my grandmother did to keep the flies out of the kitchen in the heat of August, with nothing but a glass jar, a piece of paper, and one plain thing from the pantry you would never guess. It worked for 100 years before the sticky paper was ever invented, and it works better yet. Until then, stay cool, mind your buckets, and God keep you all.